Hi everybody, on here, and I'm coming to you with this month's video. You can tell it's a little bit windy where I am. Out on a Great Lake area here right on the border of Maine today, and this is actually a really special day for me. In a lot of ways, it brings up a lot of emotions for me, both favorable emotions and challenging emotions, and just really a whole spectrum of emotions, to tell you the truth, because it was 2 years ago today that I entered into this body and that Jesse left this body. And so it has been quite a ride, quite a journey. Sometimes very hard to believe it's been 2 years since I've entered in here. And it seems like there's been a lot that has happened, and in some ways I feel like there hasn't been as much happen, and I think that is true for a lot of us. And I think that brings us to an interesting place where we are in the codes right now. In the codes right now, we have an aspect, a big piece of what's coming up a lot in the codes is about patience and being patient. And this is a tough one for people, because when we are in situations like we are in our world, where it is very challenging, it's very tough, there's a lot of uncertainty for people, and they sit back and say, how can I be patient? It's like, I need to know what's going to happen. And the reality of it is that we have to just come into choices when things aren't happening as fast as our human self would like them to happen. It's important for us to tap into the choices. It's an important opportunity for us. And if we get so lost in trying to push things forward, so lost in trying to force things to come about, force things to happen before their time, then there's so much that we can miss. There's so many missed opportunities in that. And usually the aspect of patience or being patient comes up because we're getting too wrapped up in the material world. We're getting too much into wanting to control everything. It's a really good sign, actually, because it runs on the codes of control and power. And while we want to take command of our life, which is in the opportunity, we want to let go of having to control it all. And that can be a really, really tough thing for a lot of people, because this is where our human self says, but I want to know. I can deal with it if I know what's going to happen, or if I know what's going to go on. And when we come from that space, oftentimes we're forgetting to stand in our power. We're forgetting where we really want to direct our energy. So another really big piece of what's in the codes right now, and what is coming through at this time, has to do with redirect. To redirect our energy. And in codes, to redirect means that we really need to center into the present moment. And we really need to take the time to look at all of these different components, all of these different pieces, and say, okay, where was I in the past? Because for most people, you're going to be facing opportunities or choices right now to do things that maybe you also had the chance to do in the past. And it's a really good time to look and say, am I really heading in the direction that I want to go? Are the choices that I'm making really taking me to where I want to go right now? And when we get impatient, and when we start trying to say, okay, I've got to have this patience piece, I've got to tap into spirit, I've got to come into the soul self, then that quieting of mind can help us to tune in to this opportunity of transforming the way things happened in the past to helping them move in a more favorable direction for our future. And so we want to think about at this time, really, where have I been in life? I have maybe some opportunities coming up, or some things I'm waiting to have come through, or things that I'm trying to do. and they parallel opportunities of my past. So what opportunities do they parallel? For example, if I'm going to look at a piece of property, maybe in my past I wanted something more extravagant, or Jessie wanted something more extravagant in her younger years, or my human self thought it could handle certain things. But now I look at it and say, okay, that's not really a wise choice on many, many levels. Maybe all I need is a really simple, like tiny house type thing, or, small little 300-400 square foot place, a little cabin, that type of thing. Keeping it really simple, really basic, because really what I want to do is feed and nourish my soul self, and getting into, say, some, 6,000 square foot mansion wouldn't be doing that for me, the maintenance on it and everything else. So, and just not taking me in that direction. So it's very interesting that when we start to look at these things and we say, okay, how can I proceed differently? How can I redirect the energy? And in that redirection, this is exactly what we're doing. We're taking the opportunity to look into the past a little bit and say, what does this parallel in my past? What is happening in my present that is a parallel to my past? And is that really, really what I want? Do I want to repeat the past? Do I want to not have that in my life at all and let it go? Or do I want to shift how I make it come about, or shift where I put my focus with it? Do I want to transform it or shift it or change it in some way? And so this is where patience becomes really, really useful to us, because this is where we shift from being able to let go of the control and to take command. It is where we shift from the material aspect of things to the soulful aspect of things. And that's when we start fulfilling something and living in something that will really sustain us, that will really nourish us and take care of us for a long, long time to come. And one of the ways that we can start to work with this energy, as I said, coming into the present, is to think about what is part of the season that you're in, where you're at. So like here in Maine, for example, we're in the fall season. Matter of fact, this weekend, we're already hitting a hard freeze out here. So, who knows how many days I'm going to get to film outside, given that, that are left this year. We're turning cold rapidly out here. The fall foliage is starting to come in. So we have all these great fall flavors, I was kind of sad to see some of the berries go and not be able to access some of them. But now we have, of course, apple season here, and apple season's incredible. And now I'm getting these other wonderful flavors from that right now. So indulging in, say, things like that, the sensory experiences of the season can really help, ironically or interestingly enough, to connect us in to this continuum of where we've been, where we are, where we're headed. And it can help bring us into a focus of really what pulls in the soulfulness for us. And always when we think about it, it's not so much these extravagant, say, decorations at this time of year or things like that, but it's the simplicity, it's the humbleness, it's the core aspects of it that really make it an exciting time of year, that really make it a time of year that hits right into our heart space, for example, that really, again, is shifting our direction and our focus. Now, patience is an incredible tool for us. And you'll notice that people that normally are quite successful in life will have a lot of patience. And being patient oftentimes requires, or will be, when we choose to be alone. We don't necessarily want to be with others. We want to take that introspective time. And a little bit of patience can make all the difference sometimes in something working out or not working out. And when we combine the aspects of patience with the aspects of redirect, then we shift into aspects that are about growth. that's where we start to see the growth. It's the patience is what will alleviate the stress to taking command of our life. The patience is what will see us through. And in that aspect, it's just amazing what can unfold. So I encourage you to embrace these code patterns. I encourage you to take advantage of the seasonal energy that's out there, and the seasonal sights and the flavors and the smells and the scents and all those great things, and tune in and really take the time to focus and redirect. Take care, everybody, and I'll see you next month.